we will call the meeting to order. Everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, just a reminder, if you are going to speak during public comment, you'll need to have your name on the form up here on the podium. And our first item on the agenda, we have our October minutes and November claim docket. Has everybody had a chance to look at those?
I have reviewed the October minutes and the November claim dockets, and I make a motion that we accept them as they are.
Okay, I have a first motion.
I'll second.
Second motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, this time I am going to close our usual business meeting and open up a public hearing. This public hearing is to discuss vacating the alley at 4759 Regan Street, which is at the intersection of Regan and Cross on the eastern side of Regan.
Correct. As you may know, the property has been for sale. There is a purchaser of that property who intends to buy that and the house to the north of it. That garage was built back in the 70s from the records we've been able to find. They've been paying property taxes on it from the 70s. But that section of the street was never vacated properly. So working with, and we do have Mr. Comer here representing the family tonight, the broker and the estate that's asking for this vacate. But we have contacted the neighboring property. They have provided a letter so the whole property can go with the house. Because if you remember, the lot just to the south of it is a vacant lot and a part of the farm. So they have supplied a letter so the whole property can go to the north. So anybody got any questions or want to see any map or any more information about it?
Okay, discussion items or questions, comments? Anything from Mr. Comer? Do you have anything to add?
I don't. Thank you very much. Stan Comer, 301 East Northfield Drive, Brownsburg, with Carpenter Realtors. Jim Melson is the listing agent on this property. I worked with Jim. Jim had rotator cuff surgery today and just asked me to come and be here in case you had any questions about the matter of vacating the alley. And Jeff did a fine job explaining it to you. So I know the adjoiner, the farmer, is supportive of the full 40 feet, I believe, going to the estate.
Is that Mr. Macri? Is that who owns that farm? Trying to remember who owns. Is it Macri?
Oh, I tell you now.
I think it's under 3.
I think it is
It's another one.
Macri. The one to the south.
Right, that
Yeah, that's
farm
Macri.
field.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, two it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Any public comments related to this vacated alley? Okay. No public comments. We will close the public hearing and return to our regular monthly business meeting.
What do we
And
need?
then we have to wait. Yeah. I'll skip to new business for just this vote. So we need a motion to approve the alley closure at 4759 Regan Street. And that should be Regan, R-E-G-A-N, right?
It's spelled about 20 different ways in this office, so.
I hear you.
Well, I make a motion that we vacate the alley at 4759 Reagan Street and Cross.
Okay, got a first motion?
I'll second.
I got a second motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, we will draw up an ordinance to vacate that, and,
Jenny's got it.
oh, she's already drawn it up. Swift.
I don't just sit there all day.
Okay. And then, after we sign that, we'll submit it to the recorder's office, and have it all legal and like.
We'll put it with everything.
Okay. All right, we'll skip back up to our old business. Fire hydrant at 4721 Ohio. Last month we had a resident who asked about, which it's not a fire hydrant, but a well.
It's a well. I have talked with Fire Chief Russell on all those wells in town to try to get a little more history and see if they're even usable under the current equipment. He says they've not used them in 20+ years. And the last time they did try to use it, they got very little water out of those wells from what those modern fire trucks pump. So he was in favor. He was saying that it's okay if we wanted to close them. And I hadn't got a round to getting a quote to get it closed.
Okay. I did talk to Eli English of English Well Drilling. He said I didn't realize there's more of a procedure to closing a well than just closing a well. So he said that he would get me some documentation. You have to actually submit a well closure with the county, and then
And then you fill it and cap it.
right.
and-
So if the property owner there wanted to close that well, they just have to follow all the procedures related to that.
I will say, if you're gonna close them all, every one of those wells have got brass caps on them. They're painted brass.
Yeah.
Well, that's worth some money.
Okay.
We can recycle them for the town. People probably don't know.
If they all come up missing, we'll know who has it.
John has new teeth.
Pardon me, I got one.
And I think what Doug is hinting at here is if the property owner wants to pay for it, they can pay for it, because there is a cost to close the new wells.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there was a actual procedure, but when I talked to Eli English, he was like, "Oh yeah, you have to go to all these, you have to go to the water board and submit actual paperwork on closing a well." So, but we can work on getting more details on that
We
procedure.
had one closed, John, remember?
Yeah,
What was
when
that?
Brad Butler took care of it.
Yeah,
that,
that was quite,
but-
it cost us,
Yeah, cause it was quite a bit to get it done. I was
Yeah.
thinking like back then, maybe $500-600.
at least.
But then, how much do you get for the brass?
I guess we didn't
Oh, that
know
one,
back then.
that one had a plastic cap on it.
All right, sorry. No worries. Okay, any other questions on that well, or the other wells? Let's skip to 12 East Michigan, because that has to do with a well also. The vacant lot across the street. And some vandals over there today tore down that tree. Pete and I took the tree down.
Okay.
Actually, I stood and leaned on a shovel, and Pete did all the work. But the only thing that needs to happen on that property now before Ray's can finish is Eli English, again, has to get over there and cap off that well. So he's got to go through that process. And he said that well is not been used in so many years. He said he wouldn't even attempt to test the mechanisms. He just would cap it off. And then after he does that, we do have our sewer lateral is now marked and capped, which interestingly enough, when Ray's, they capped a pipe that they thought was the sewer lateral, and then when AA Septic tried to camera inspect that, they could only get about 1.5 foot in, and it was all filled in with dirt. So then they found another pipe though that went the other direction, which is more appropriate because that's where our sewer main is off to the east. And they were able to camera inspect that one all the way to the main, and it was a clear pipe, no obstructions, anything like that. They capped that one. AA Septic capped it for us. And they also painted green lines on the ground so we knew where it was heading. But anything else on 12 East Michigan or?
No, and
Yeah.
Rays will come back when you call them
Right.
to finish putting the stone and bringing that back level, so that's still in their scope.
Okay, any questions on that or? All right, now we skip back up to Western Drive. Banning Engineering had their final inspection done a couple of days ago, maybe. Said everything looked pretty good except for a couple of minor things. They've talked to Moraine Excavating about those issues, but overall they said that it was pretty much a completed project. So other than a couple of minor fixes. So Western Drive is completed and good to go for the most part. Any questions about Western? Military banner updates. The Daughters of the American Revolution are offering again the program for next year, which would be from May of 2023 to May of 2024. They're taking orders. Those orders should be in by December 15th. So anybody has an order to put in, you can either contact us here at the office and we get you the information. You can check our Facebook page and our website.
Does it need to be posted on the website?
Yeah, that would be great if it's not. It's on the Facebook page already for the person to contact, Rhonda Beck.
Yeah.
So she will get you the information on how to proceed with that for that. And by the way, tomorrow is Veterans Day, so thank you for all the veterans and for serving our country and helping out with keeping us free and safe. Next item on the agenda, park equipment update. The AAA playground equipment company has estimated the new park equipment will be installed the first week of February, sometime between the 1st and the 7th. They said obviously weather could interfere with that, but that's, for the most part, that's when the remainder of that install will be done. So.
I got a question on the park equipment.
Okay.
I've had 3 or 4 different people ask me, do we gonna have baby swings down there?
Yes,
The next one.
The next one, okay.
right.
That's in this park equipment.
Yeah, I think the swings, they're gonna be on the south side, kinda next to that Wicked Wombat one that got put in last year. That will be the one with, it'll have a mommy and me swing and a little baby swing on it.
Okay, thank
Any other questions on park equipment? Okay. Comprehensive plan update. So do you have anything else on that, Jeff?
The only thing I got, I texted Mike today to find out when our grant application, when we may hear from it. He's thinking that they will make announcements next Thursday. So that's the only thing I've got on that at this time.
Okay, so just waiting.
Just in the waiting game.
All right. Next item on the old business public works asset management plan update. George, you've been involved in some of the emails on that. Anything you want to say about the asset management plan?
Yeah, I didn't see anything adverse about it, so it looked pretty straightforward to me. So I'm not sure what the actual checks and balances would be, but it looks good to me. I think there was some back and forth, right, some edits that you sent through, so.
Just that they had an incorrect ordinance number on when we raised our sewer rates last. It was all, and Jenny and I looked up the actual number and sent it to them and said, here's the correct ordinance number. Minor change there with that. Any other questions on the Public Works Asset Management Plan? All right, new business. So we're gonna have a short presentation from Banning Engineering.
I understand the emphasis is short, so I'm going to do my best. My name is Mark Butler. I'm with Bain Engineering. I've met some of you already and appreciate the opportunity to just come and talk for a minute. We submitted on your Public Works Consulting Services RFP and just wanted to just talk a little bit about our history and what we feel like we can offer you guys as Town of Clayton. We've been a Hendricks County firm since our birth in 1994. We have an office, a main office based in Plainfield. Just took me only 20 minutes to get here. So we started in residential development at the beginning, but then quickly adding staff and growing into municipal services. And we've been the town manager or town engineer for several Hendricks County and other communities around Indianapolis. One being Danville and others. So you can see all the details in our book here. But we feel passionate about growing communities. We've helped where we can at guiding decisions and things as a community would like to grow or not like to grow, or just maintain infrastructure. We feel that we can really add there where half of our business is related to development directly with commercial and residential development, and the other half we can borrow that experience to guide good development and how that works. So not to mention public works projects, and we understand how it is with limited funds, and you have to make the very best of what you have. And so we kind of pride ourselves on being a member of the team and being at the table, but understanding that you guys make the tough decisions, and we'll give our advice as we can and help where we can. So we try our very best to be good communicators. I think Doug and Jeff have realized on this Western Avenue culvert, when they reach out, we try to respond as quickly as we can within the day or so, or even quicker, because we feel like good communication is the very lifeblood of keeping things moving well. And so with that, are there any questions that I can answer? I'd be happy to do so.
I don't have any for you.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you for coming.
Appreciate it.
Great. Okay.
All right, next on the new business signed Boyce contract for 2023.
This is for the software for billing, payroll, and fund. So it's a total of, there's only two here. No, it's a total of $6,971. And it's in our budget.
Okay. Need a motion?
Yeah, please.
I'll make a motion, we accept the contract, software contract.
All right, I got a first motion for Boyce contract.
Second.
All right, I got a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right, police emails next on the agenda. You have information for us about that?
The emails?
The emails. We've been informed that Google is now charging you more money for the email than what it used to be.
Matt did send that to me. Did he send that to you, Jenny?
Yes.
So my thought, I guess, is I don't know what.
Yeah, Matt signed up whenever Google was doing the Google Suite for free for municipalities. And they've since dropped that, and so now they're charging for it, so.
It's
That's
still-
all I know about it, other than if they're gonna, if we're gonna consider paying for the G Suite of email services and others, then maybe we should just get them flipped over to the Town of Clayton address on the email service that we have for the town.
Yeah, it's $35.74 a month.
Well, we better probably like crunch some numbers and see what that looks like. 'Cause
Let's see if the Zoho will be,
comparative, yeah,
Okay.
a little more, a little less. I'm off the top of my head, I think it sounds like it's gonna be a little more than that,
okay.
but, so, but we'll look into it.
All right, we will table that until Dave has a chance to research which one will be more cost effective for us.
Costs that you may- okay.
Very good. Any other questions on that, comments? All right, food pantry storage shed. John, did you want to talk about this, or you want me to
You can.
take the, okay. So Marlene Steggy approached us a few months ago, was gonna have a storage shed built on site, to help. The stipulation we as the town came up with said, if for some reason the food pantry leaves, the building should stay there and become part of the property of the town. The company that was going to build that shed said, no way, we're not giving you our building. So, now, since then, she's had another individual, somebody from, the church on, the south side of town here, Clayton Christian Church, offered to build a shed also, or put a shed on skids, maybe that's what so he's gonna put a shed on skids, run electricity to it because she has to have heat and air conditioning if she's gonna have food in there. And then if the food pantry leaves, they would, because the building's gonna be on a skid, they would just take the shed with them at the time. So she wanted me to bring that up again, see what the town council thought about that idea.
What's different than, on a skid than what the first one would be? Is that some kind of permanent footings? I've never heard of a.
Right, from what I understood, the Gleaners company that was going to give them a grant and build the building, it was gonna have, a concrete slab and footers, the whole works.
Yeah.
So if they took the shed, we'd be stuck with this concrete slab sitting in this lot over there. This one, I'm not 100% sure how a skid works, but it's just, they just put down a gravel bed and then put the shed on that.
They're usually runners under them.
Oh, yeah, like 4x4s or something,
Yeah.
yeah.
How does power meet code for that? Does it? I'm sure that's gonna have to be worked out, or it's already been thought of, but.
Right, I mean, they would have to have a licensed electrician hook up the building for them, but, and then if the shed ever had to leave, they just disconnect it, go, reverse it.
It'll probably have to have a disconnect on the building or in it.
Yeah,
And a fuse
I'm
box.
thinking of the concession stand over at the school. They've got, the meter is actually on a pole.
Yeah.
And then they've got a line that runs from the pole over to the shed. And that shed is also on runners. So I can see how that'll work. Never mind. Worked it out in my head.
So, and again, this, there would be no cost to the town. The Mill Creek Christian Support Center pays their own electric bill, so whatever they add as far as the electrical usage would still be theirs, their cost. It's just a matter of, in this instance, last time we said we wanted the shed to stay. In this instance, the shed would be taken with them if they left.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have a problem with it staying either way for myself, but if it can be pulled out of there on skids, certainly makes it better, but.
Yeah. And it's
Doesn't
a,
matter to me how they do it.
it's a necessity because, every freezer we have every week now and refrigerator is overflowing, you don't have room. And I was telling today, we had 111 families we served Tuesday night. That's the most we've ever, it's just increasing now since prices going up, so.
Yeah, the need for the food pantry is not getting less, that's for sure, so. But, so Marlene just wanted to see if, we would approve having this temporary shed put there, under the understanding that they would take it with them if they ever left.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
That's okay with me.
Okay, all right, so we have a consensus that the sheds, we're good with the shed on skids, and they take care of the electricity for it. And, so I'll pass that on to Marlene unless you want to, John, since you
Okay, I'll tell.
volunteer over there so much, you can, okay. All right, next, community crossing matching grant for 2023. I've been trying, HWC Engineering helped us with a community crossing grant back in 2019, and that was the last time we did one, and I feel like we definitely have some streets that need work and we need to do another one. We have about $50,000 total in grant matching funds that we can do one, process one with. Problem with just getting this pushed through is just trying to make sure that I'm working with HWC quick enough to make the deadline for the application. But we're trying to work on that.
When's the deadline?
What's that?
When is the deadline?
I think it's December 1st. December 1st is our deadline, so it's coming up pretty quick. So if we don't make this one, they do it. They have an application twice a year, so we can try again at the next one. But it's certainly something that I would like to get done. We still have some streets in town that need some work, and the sidewalks that go along with them. Some of our sidewalks in town have like these pitches because of roots growing up and that kind of stuff, so. But any questions or comments on community crossing matching grant?
No, if you need help, let us know.
Okay,
If
go ahead.
Jeff had a comment that
Well, I'll let Mark speak. If you don't get submitted December 1st, you're out for the whole year.
Yeah.
Or they don't have two different application dates
you
for,
have to have your PAMP done by December 1st, and that's in progress right now with HWC.
Yeah.
Right. Asset management plan is due to LTAP December 1, and that makes you eligible for the 2023 cycles, both cycles. And then you get your application in for what roads you want to do. That's January, usually the last week in January. And then the next cycle is in July. So this step is to get you eligible for next year, and then you can apply either in January or July.
oh, okay.
And Doug,
I did get an email today about logging in to the LTAP
Right.
thing and filling that.
and tonight, well, just before the meeting, I was contacting HWC. She said they would have it done before, hopefully, Thanksgiving. You were copied on the emails, Doug. So you
Okay.
may not have seen them. tonight,
Okay.
so.
Very good. All right, we'll try to get that all worked out, submitted. Next one, letters to Santa. So, my plan would be to, as soon as the day after Thanksgiving, put the mailbox back out. It's still safely secured down in the basement. And then I did contact, Cascade High School, drama department, and they are willing to participate in the process with the letters as well, like they did last year. So, any questions or?
Do they still have the stationery and the stamps and stuff, or?
Well,
happened with
last
that?
year we had 26 letters that they replied to, so I don't know how
There
many you'd
was-
given them, but,
I would think there was like 200 envelopes and,
oh, okay.
and papers, and I don't know.
I can contact them, they
Yeah.
probably still have some then, if there were that many.
Yeah.
All right,
If they've still got it, and I think the flower shop paid for their postage too, so if they don't have, postage, let me know. and I'll-
okay, we'll do that. All right, anything else on letters to Santa? I'll make sure and communicate better this year that the kids could expect a reply, cause some people didn't put a return address on it when they put their letters in, but they seem to always all have fun putting the letters in there. They sent pictures and stuff
Yeah.
of their kids dropping them off. All right, Jeff, Eater, you're up.
I'm up. I just want to start off by saying thanks to council. It's been a pleasure this last year plus working with you and trying to guide you in some new directions and undertake some projects that hopefully have long-lasting impacts. I really hope that this Okra grant comes through from a planning grant. I know one of the challenges I had, and Doug had it before me, is there's no good documentation on where the direction of the town is going to go in written form. Everybody's got their own opinion, so that planning document would be very helpful in that. But I just want to thank you for your time working with you. Jenny especially, it's been a joy working with her on a little more day-to-day basis. Hopefully I didn't confuse her too much when we upgraded her computer.
Yeah, a little bit.
But
I told him the other day, by the time I quit, I'll know everything.
Well, I helped Jenny out on
Okay,
that.
John helped me.
It's been a pleasure working with you and also working with the staff. I think you've got a great, small team here, great small community that I kind of envy living in a little larger growing community, kind of nice and quiet out here. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you all for letting me be part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, George Burnett, you're up next.
Should I bring my list?
Yes,
Alright.
please.
I'm good at these lists, huh? Should be short and sweet. I only have 3 items today. So the school hookup, I don't know if you guys been going up and down 801 Clayton Road, you can see that they actually started sewing the pipe together. So my understanding, they're definitely starting at Clayton, gonna work their way back to the school with the pipe itself.
Those pipes along Clayton Name Road, that's them?
That's them.
It's not very big.
It's a 6-inch. I challenged it because it's like, that doesn't look big enough. And I went with a tape measure and measured it, and I called.
Yeah.
They said, yeah, that's the right size, but they call it a 6-inch force main.
Right.
So even though it doesn't measure 6 inches, it's,
Well, the volume that the school is
Right.
gonna be pumping over is not,
yeah, it's still gonna be a lot of gallons to fill that pipe just the first time.
right?
Yeah, quite a few. So that's activity started. I think they told me originally that part of the process is gonna be like maybe a 2-month process or something. So hopefully by winter.
Yeah.
And then the midge fly issue down to the plant, I got some good stuff. It's working really well. So hopefully I'll keep that on order, and next year if they come back, well, we can hit them again. I'm on a maintenance dosage right now, so I hope they'll never come back. So that's the plan. And then the generator, because of the COVID and all that stuff happened, we kind of, our generator maintenance lapsed a little bit, so I called them, got that reactivated. I have a 3-year contract with them. I was gonna sign and send back. They'll come out this month. Yeah, they've got it on the books to come out and get me back up and running. It's ready to go, but they want to service everything. They'll, put new batteries in it, service it, and then do that for 3 years. So 3-year contracts as long as they would go with that. So Jenny, they said what they'll do is they'll bill for it after the work's done. So we don't get billed for a full 3 years. We just get billed one time at
Okay.
the end of the year when they finish it out.
Who is that?
It's McAllister.
Okay.
And at one time, a couple years ago, we had an issue with a power outage and the generator didn't kick in. Is that
They're gonna go through and exercise everything. They'll make sure the generator's pulling the right amount of amperage and working right. They'll actually come do the switch box as well, cause that's an important part of it. you know, the generator kick on, but the switch box doesn't kick over, then it doesn't matter. So we'll exercise all that, make sure it's in good working order.
Will there be routine testing then, like periodically?
So it's, yeah, so it's does itself, the way it's set up is once a week, so you pick the time, that way it exercises it, turns on and runs for, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Exercises all the workings of it. So, that's what I got. Questions?
Good job.
Sure.
All right,
All right.
thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, Chief Remender, you're up.
I don't have a long list either. I would like to, I'm gonna start off with recognizing, my longest, reserve back here has been on 9 years, Scott Lennon, you guys probably know him. He's really donated a lot of service and time to the town of Clayton. And I would like to introduce my newest reserves. I'll start with Brian Dubner. Brian, you wanna just kinda
Sure.
introduce yourself, give him a little bit professionally and personally maybe?
Sure. My name's Brian Dubner. I've been a police officer for 13 years. Most of that was with Indiana University. I've had a bit of a career and life change in the last couple weeks and took on some full-time work with a software company. And I've known Chief Remender Thomas for a long time. So the opportunity to come out and serve the town of Clayton works well for hopefully the town and certainly for myself. I've been married 13 years. I've got 2 kids. Hold a master's degree and a bachelor's degree, both in criminal justice related fields. So I've got some academic experience as well. Teach some college classes for IU still down in Columbus. So busy, but excited to come out and work for the town. So anything else? Any questions?
Welcome.
My second one is Michael Richardson.
Hi, Mike Richardson. Personal side is I'm married for 14 and a half years, a little bit longer than Brian. I've got two girls, 11 and 13. They're wonderful girls. Wife is great. Been in law enforcement for going on 28 years. I started off and spent 14 and a half years at Morgan County in various capacities in law enforcement. Left Morgan County and went to Missouri as a deputy sheriff while my wife was in the Air Force out there. And then when we came back from Missouri, I hired in at IU, working with Tom for 10 and a half years. And then I left there, started my own business, which I do security consulting, and doing that full time and doing this part time on the side.
Mike has a lot of extensive work also in investigations, so he brings a little bit of skill set there for us. And Brian's actually a master instructor with the state of Indiana law enforcement, which is like less than 1% of police officers have that certification. So we're kind of really blessed in town to have this kind of experience coming on board. So it'll be a big help and a blessing for me as well.
Okay. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you.
Just a couple of things that we're just really focusing on at the end of the year is we have state mandates that we got to reach, and so I've got one officer yet that still needs to get his state mandates completed. And then I mentioned last time too, I'm really going through, and Matt was kind of helping me too, just updating the policies and procedures. And I hope to have that completed by the first of the year. So that way we have best practices and again, for the town, less liability when it comes to, obviously the liability in law enforcement is quite huge with the tasks we have, but I feel like we will have the best policies and procedures to protect us from any kind of liable things. Outside of that, man, we've just really been focusing on traffic. Hopefully we're seeing people drive a lot slower in town. I feel like we've really put a lot of emphasis on that. I think the lights help with that as well. When you get that big warning, you know, and then you try to make it go green, right? You go, awesome. Oh, you feel a little bit better. So that's kind of nice. So that's where we really focusing on. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
I do.
Yes.
There's topics on the Facebook page about response times in the area for the sheriff to get here in the event of issues, which honestly I have concern of that myself, having a business that's open at night down here. But My concern is that there's a lot of times it seems like that we don't have a car available in town to use, whether they're, you know, certainly have no problems with you guys using the cars to do your, you know, side gigs and all that. I think it's a great benefit, but what does concern me is that we maybe don't have the coverage in town that we need because we don't have the cars.
And so I have a rule with that, and so that car can never be used outside unless there's an email that goes out or a text message that goes to everybody that says, no, I'm not working. So that car wouldn't be used at all when an officer is using it for a part-time job.
So we don't feel like the weekends are a good time to patrol on our own? Is that how we, you know, maybe that's the way it's been and I just haven't paid attention.
No.
I'm just,
I guess I'm confused on your question. So the officers basically put in what they can work, and so then that varies 7 days a week. So some of them work weekends, some don't. Scott spends a lot of time on weekends, coming out here and working on Saturdays and Sundays. I focus a lot on Saturdays, so it's kind of just varies. So that vehicle will never, an officer can never use a vehicle that would prohibit somebody from covering the town. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So it will never, so anytime that it's being used for part-time work is because nobody is signed up, or when they send the message out, nobody's going, I'm not gonna work.
so you
then-
are on top of
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, yep. And, you know, here's the thing, I think something that the town really has to look at too is, you know, we got minimal coverage. You know, when you start adding up 24/7, 7 days a week, 365, you know, I'm contracted for 40 hours a month. My reserve officers are averaging about 16 hours a month. Times that by 5, now we're adding 2, but it's gonna take training to get them up to speed, so they're gonna be still a couple months out. You know, we're averaging, you know, pretty low when you kind of add that up. So then county is taking some of those runs. I don't know as if county's response is all that low, because they're in the area.
Yeah, well, you
So-
know, just because it's on Facebook doesn't necessarily, but I
Right.
guess there was an
Yeah.
incident that came to light where the response time was supposedly quite long.
Okay, and,
Like
and,
19 minutes.
and I'm not gonna say that can't happen sometimes.
I respect the fact we can't have 24-hour police
Yeah.
coverage. I get it. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that we are getting the coverage that we deserve. If, you know, if it's because we don't have cars that we're not getting it is a different
Right, and
problem
that's,
than
and
not
to
having.
my knowledge, that has never ever occurred.
Okay.
That's never occurred, yep.
And
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 I'll
I'm
do my
pretty
best
sure-
to make sure that never occurs.
I
I'm
will-
pretty sure that, like, if someone calls dispatch or something, if the sheriff's department gets it, they'll come, they always
Yes,
respond, no
correct,
matter,
Correct.
no
yes,
matter who calls
correct.
for
That's
anything, so
exactly
they'll
right.
always show up, yeah.
Correct, yes.
And a lot of times, there is a county car in town, and they hide and sit at the school parking lot,
Right.
and they monitor 39. Because I'll be outside walking around my yard, whatever, and I'll just peek over there, and all of a sudden it's there. There's a
Plus
car
they
there.
use your
And
office.
they use our,
It's
they
easy
use,
to
so
pick
this
on
is
one
the South
incident.
District
Always.
hangout as
Yeah,
well. And
but-
so the South units hang out, they have a code to use our facilities, and so they oftentimes are actually hanging out in Clayton. So they actually is quite a, at least from my knowledge, since I've been out here since February, I feel like county's actually in this town quite a bit.
And they may be. It's like I just said, it's easy to pick on
Yeah.
one case.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it, and I'm not picking on you guys. But just so you know, I drive a silver Hyundai.
Parks at
What
the-
year is my car, John?
Get all our license plate numbers.
Lives down there on the east end of town.
I certainly don't want that to come off as we don't
Yeah.
Yeah,
appreciate
so
you
that-
guys
I
because
appreciate that,
we
yeah.
definitely do.
Yeah.
But we have people to answer to, and if I hear, you know,
Correct.
discussion, whether it's on Facebook or any other forum, I wanna make sure that I know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about when I,
Correct, and I'll
Watch
always be
back.
transparent with that too, that's, I want that to be clear too,
Yeah.
so we're doing our, we'll always make sure that there's a car when there's a reserve or a officer that wants to work the town of Clayton.
But I can honestly tell you, I've never heard anything bad about you on Facebook.
Well, I appreciate that.
'Cause I don't do, I don't
Well, see,
think
that-
it-
You're not on Facebook, no Facebook, no.
Yeah.
We can correct that.
Yeah,
Um,
Facebook, he remembers is in the thirties in
Yeah.
school.
There you go.
The radar speed limit signs, we talked last week about the permit that we got from DOT to have those there. That's we just need to know, do we need to look at different locations for those, try to reapply for the same permit again? So just,
I would recommend applying, I think they're in great locations. Do you guys think those locations are good?
I do.
I think they're good. So I would reapply.
I can start that process, reapply a DOT permit.
Great.
I know when I'm on duty, before we put those signs up, I was doing 5-6 stops a day, and now I'm nitpicking to
It's hard to find something.
get people speeding coming in now, so they do help.
Any other questions? That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right, Pete Engrick, you're up next.
Yeah.
I almost sound like a broken record here. I talked to Mr. Walsh yesterday. He tells me now it's been moved up to the end of November. But for sure, we'll have it before the end of the year.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't know if I mentioned this last meeting, he will change out the tires for us. To put like all-season tires instead of the big knobby tires.
Oh.
Because we run on that, you know, the sidewalks and the pavement more than we do
Right.
dirt, so, at no cost. And he said if an orange one would happen to come in before the other one, we're first in line for it, which would save us some money. So. And if I may.
So that's all outfitted
Yes.
with everything?
Everything's on it.
All right,
Get it.
okay.
And I told him, just call me and I'll come up and get it.
I don't know
And it's
what,
how Pat's not here, can I speak on the maintenance part?
It's your show right now.
Well, it's mine. Oh. This guy here looks like he belongs on ID.
Keep it up, you'll be on ID.
We got all the banners up. I really like the new equipment we got to put them up with. It's much better.
Brackets.
Yeah, the brackets are much better. I think they'll last, you know, forever down there. And we got the park closed. All the flags are up, what we have. We're short on flags. So I don't know when we're gonna do any more flags or not. I didn't have enough to go all the way to the edge of town. And I tried to skip some of the holders to try to get all the way out there.
You know, Pete and I was talking about that. Some of the flags are old, some of the newer ones are up. But as we order flags, we only order so many, and we still they don't match up with the others, and the others wear out. I don't know, I know they're expensive, but I think the next time we get flags, we ought to
Well,
get.
we have $1,000, we need to spend it by the end of the year.
But I was gonna suggest
well.
get all new flags so
Well,
they'd all.
we just got so many.
Yeah.
How many flagpoles are there? How many?
Well, I'll have to.
40, right?
Yeah.
We had, because one time last year we counted them and we had 40 up at one time.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we kind of discussed buying a few flags each year so we weren't buying 40 every time they got old.
Yeah.
So we'd have a cycle or a rotation of, you know, buy 5 every year, and then that way in every 8 years they're all cycled through and replaced. But I don't know if that's often enough, or
Let me see how much they.
some of them seem to fade faster than others. So it just
Right.
depends on where they're at and
Yeah.
the amount of UV
And
light
how
there.
long you leave them out.
Right.
But other than that, that's it.
Okay.
We gotta get that UTV for Dave.
I just don't, what are we gonna talk about in 2023?
We'll park it at your house.
All right. So I will move to public comment now, and then we'll cycle back to, if there's anything else that council members, want to discuss. So I think we have one name on here, right? Oh, no, we have, Mr. Comer signed himself up, but he left, so. All right, Mish is signed up.
All right. Oh my gosh, I have a reputation.
Yeah.
Apparently so. You have 3 minutes.
Time starts now.
All
Hi,
right.
I'm Mish Bignell and I live at 87 West Kentucky Street. I have had the privilege of serving on the ESAC committee for the last few months, talking about the fire department and some of the things that could be options for helping us to do the best we can for our fire department and keep our fire department here in our community. Being one of the only members of ESAC that is from actually the town of Clayton, I just wanted to bring a concern I have as a citizen, as a business owner in the town. One of the suggestions that ESAC has come up with that they were going to want to present to the new newly elected trustee is that they would like to move the fire department down to Hazelwood and function out of that station down there. So I just wanted to come as a concerned citizen and say, I hope that doesn't happen. I don't want to lose our fire department here in the town of Clayton. Not that ESAC has any political power or any decision making, but that they do have some ideas and some suggestions that might be very good for Liberty Township as a whole. I'm not sure that that's going to be good for the town of Clayton to have our fire department move from our station here in town to Hazelwood. And so just wanted to kind of come and just appeal to the council for us to be thinking about something to do in the town of Clayton to keep our fire department and also just to offer my support in whatever that looks like for the town. I know that's been very challenging for us as a community to see what we need to do to help our fire department to be as strong as it needs to be and to be here and available to our community. So again, just wanted to offer if there's anything that I can do to help out with that, but then also as a concerned citizen to just say I support our fire department and want to make sure that it stays in Clayton, as well as being able to serve all of Liberty Township, but would hate to see it leave the town. So
Nice thing about it is they have to have us in order to do that, and I don't think anybody sitting at this table wants that either, so that's, thanks for letting us know, but I think the realization of
I
that-
did, Marlene Steggy actually was talking to me the other day when we were discussing other things, and she mentioned the same hearing that, kind of, discussion or rumblings with people in town. And so I reached out to Chief Russell, and he wanted to assure me that this, that if the fire department stopped responding out of this station, it was just a temporary move in the future to allow for a renovation of this station. So he did say we don't have any plans to vacate this building in Clayton. If he's, like you said, if we move out of it, it would be for the purposes of fixing this up so that it works for a 24/7 kind of a response.
Sure, they had some criteria on why they thought that was a good move, or mentioned why that would be a good move, but we'd like to know what that criteria was and why.
For
I think it's a lot of what we discussed at ESAC was financial, really. station has a lot less renovation to be done as far as what their thinking process is. And so thought it might be, nice to have everybody out of one station. And since, a lot of the calls, they're concerned with a lot of the calls down by the warehouses, having it be closer to 39, and 70 down there. So that was one of the concerns. I guess I'm just, while I share that concern, I'm also concerned that we don't pull from our station.
I will also mention I was involved in a conference call with the other town managers in Hendricks County on Tuesday of last week, and Todd McCormick from the county administrator, was involved in that. He mentioned that the county commissioners and the county council have all approved a plan to contract with the next county over, the fire department that borders Liberty Township there, to help respond up into Liberty Township, which is typically not done because of two different dispatch centers, but they're looking to contract that from the county level, from this county to Morgan County, to try and get them. Now they will not come as far north as Clayton. They would only come across the border a certain distance, like covering the warehouse area. But that was something that the county commissioners and the county council have all agreed to do. So they're in the process of doing that. All right, any other discussion on the fire department? Everybody should have gotten an email from me on the fire department's chief report for
I
the
saw
month.
that on the chief's report, and he mentions again about the Lucas chest compression system. Did they not go forward with the process of applying for money from the county?
I haven't been told yea or nay on that. I did communicate to Chief Russell that was an option.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's, I know that there was some talk back and forth about the fact that they feel like they want to be able to use that money for a new fire truck in the future. And so I don't know. I mean, it's certainly their right to decide how to use that money, but I expressed to him what I found out from talking to the county auditor and the county administrator, that money they have left over from their ambulance purchase would seem to fit buying that device.
Right. Okay. I was just curious.
All right. Let's see here. We got any other items that need to be discussed? We'll start down at the Dave's end of the table. Nothing? Okay, Leanne?
Nope.
All right, John?
Yeah, the crossing guard lady, I just noticed the other day when I was coming by, we got her that sign that lights up, flashes for the stop sign. It wasn't flashing, so I don't know if you want to talk to her, see if it needs batteries or something?
It has a USB charging cable, so
Yeah.
maybe she didn't
Yeah.
charge it up the night before or
Hand
something.
her your phone.
Okay.
Lie.
But yeah, it's
Yeah, I seen her
it's a
come out.
rechargeable for a USB cable that she can plug in.
Was it dark? Was it dark out?
No, but it still should have been, but she still should put it on to catch your attention.
She caught your attention without it being on?
Well, what'd you say? I can't remember. See the kind of abuse I take here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Steve?
So the sidewalk across the street here, it's offset, that they poured, that my OCD will not unsee now, since somebody put it on in the email. I'm just curious, how in the heck did they get a permit to do that way?
I don't know that a permit was gotten for that, but you'd have to.
Yeah, and I never had a chance to inspect when she did it before it was poured.
That's irritating to, as me as a citizen, because I had, when I poured my driveway, had to go through all the channels, and that's completely on my property now, which, you know, I get it, but it's irritating, is what it is. I don't know what we can really do about it, other than say you have to tear it up, but, you know, I'm not sure that's in our best interest. We have a lot of other stuff to worry about that's worse than that, but I'm just curious how that even happened.
Yeah, I mean, it is, to me, it definitely, you know, unsightly having, you know, two sidewalks on the same block that don't match up in that. As far as from the town's perspective, I think that we have three options, or at least that's what I'm coming up with in my mind. One, we can go to the homeowner and say, you know, we didn't, you know, approve this and it wasn't followed through the right channels, tear it up and redo it and put it back where it was. Another option is there is an alley that separates the two sidewalks in that block, and there's not a sidewalk there. We could have a diagonal sidewalk built to connect them, and maybe that wouldn't upset.
Like it curves.
Yeah, just so and make it, you know, look like they just are, you know, matched up, but that we had to go through a curve and the rest of that sidewalk all the way to Kentucky Street needs to be replaced as well. It's in pretty bad shape on that side as well, so that's an option. And then like the third option would be not to do anything and just say that's it's happened and it's unfortunate, but we're not, you know. So those are the way I see it. I don't know if anybody else sees other.
I think we at least have to let her know that, hey, you know, this is not in the right spot. I don't know if that's been done. This is not in the right spot, and if there is a reason we have to do any sort of work here, we will be removing the sidewalk, but it'll be up to you to replace it. We will not put it back to where it was. And because I think that's going to set a tone then that if someone else changes their sidewalk, you know, we're not going to accept that either. So I just don't want it to get a snowball kind of effect going where people replace their sidewalks and they're moving it back towards the street board.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to see every house in town decide they're going to build their own sidewalk and none of them match up anywhere, because then we're going to have like an Eicher diagram of sidewalks in town.
I haven't seen it. I think my only concern would be is liability. I mean, I don't know where it's at. If somebody was to trip on it, is it in a place that would be like, will come back on us as being not properly positioned where it should have been, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that would be a difficult case to make of, because it's a well done sidewalk,
It's a
and
nice
it's very
sidewalk, yeah.
obvious. It looks good.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, is the aesthetics of if you're standing at the end of the street looking down the block, you're like, why do these sidewalks not match up?
Oh,
I see
And-
why they did it, but.
Yeah, they were.
But what if it's not, what if it's not to code, what if the concrete's wrong and it
Yeah.
heaves, what if,
Well,
Graham, you're an attorney, that's the kind of stuff you think of, what happens with that, what liability do we have?
I don't think I've seen what's going on here. What, is it just, it's just off, it doesn't match up?
Yeah, that's really probably the best part of the thing, is that it's well designed, but it's offset. I think it might even be wider than what
It's
the
4
other
feet
sidewalk
wide,
is.
so it's
And
a standard sidewalk width. It's
So
4
even
feet.
if you wanted to tear the one out beyond it to the next corner, there's a tree right there.
Right.
And so now you're looking at taking the tree out to even match it up. So, but beside the point of aesthetics, like Leanne's saying, what happens if there's a quality issue that causes a problem with a resident? Are we liable for that? Because I'm assuming it's in a town-owned section of land.
It's in our right of way.
Well, it's in
I
the
assume
carriage
that.
space. So before, the sidewalk that was there before was 4 feet over. And so the new position was just moved over into that carriage space. So there was, I mean, they moved it actually over onto town property. Since
Yeah, I mean, there are cases where, you know, a resident complains about like a pothole or something in the sidewalk, and then you don't fix it. You know, that's kind of a typical case, but this is, I mean, it's a well-built sidewalk, and I'm not concerned from a liability perspective, really. But I get what you're saying after seeing the picture. You know, it's,
Can't unsee it, can you?
yeah.
That's my only thing, then, if you're good with it, then I am, it's just, I don't like people do stuff.
any discussions on what we want to go forward? Like I said, I think that it needs to be very clear that going forward, that we're not going to allow other residences to do this similar type of thing of just building their own sidewalk in their own, you know, space that doesn't match up with the rest
Are
of
there
a
any
block.
fines or anything that should be associated with that, that they did not get, any kind of a permit to do it?
A permit for an accessory structure is a $50 permit in town, according to our UDO and application for permits.
So in other words, I'd say she, I don't know if it's a she or not. The person should now come in and apply to do it and pay us the $50, and then we're set, correct? I mean, and then we're all in line with that they're doing what everybody else in town has to do.
Yes. And then my thought, as again, one of my suggestions on a fix, is across that alleyway, build a connector, a sidewalk that angles and connects them in a way that, you know, makes it look like, okay, maybe this was done on purpose because of that tree. You know, we could use that tree as, that's our excuse of, we had to keep this sidewalk here because there's, and it's a nice tree, and it's, you know, and that homeowner always puts nice, a flower bed around that tree and stuff, and it's, that's just my personal thoughts or opinions on that.
We should probably look into that then.
What's that?
We should probably look into that then.
We're into connecting those two with a diagonal sidewalk across there, and
That sounds like the best fix to me, too.
Yeah.
I think.
do we want to go all the way to Kentucky, since that sidewalk is in pretty sad shape already, or do we want to just go across our alley?
Let's get 2 estimates.
2 estimates? Okay.
Kind of need to know what they would do, because I don't think the owner there's going to want that tree to go away.
I would guess. It's
So
a nice
then-
tree, it's
so then
healthy.
you'd have to go onto her property if you want the same width of sidewalk.
The sidewalk was 42 inches. The old sidewalk was, no, I think it was 42, and the new one's 48 to match what was on Michigan.
So that's not much, but it looks like a
So-
lot more.
It's because the other one was grown over
Oh, okay, gotcha.
so much, because it was in such bad shape. What happens to a lot of sidewalks. If you walk sidewalks in town, there's a lot of instances where a third of the sidewalk is under grass.
On that same block on the other side, you can hardly even see the sidewalk because of
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, it's like, I walk on the street coming over here from my house because there's not a sidewalk on that side, basically. It's,
But there's plenty of examples like that throughout town.
yes. Which hopefully that's something we can fix with the community crossing matching grant. All right. Anything else, Pete? If you can help me with, working on getting estimates on this sidewalk over the next couple weeks. We'll contact some construction companies that do that. See what they say. Huh? Wallace has done sidewalks for us in town before, so it would definitely be one we could contact. All right, congratulations to our 2 re-elected council members. Yes. Leanne and Steve.
Tough stressful one.
That was.
That in the midterms too, right?
All right, Jenny, you got anything else for? Nothing?
Nothing.
I thought for sure you were gonna have something else. Graham, how about you? I haven't talked to you yet. Anything for us?
Just farewell to Jeff. He was working with him.
Yeah,
Yep,
it was.
very thankful. All right, do I have a consensus to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, got it first.
Second.
Yeah, second, all in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye, all opposed, and we will adjourn at 8:11.
That went pretty quick.